here.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
Tyler Ann.
Tyler
Ann.
And we have two very special poltergeists. Guess how long we've been thinking of that joke? All week. With us tonight, Joseph Escamilla and Alyssa Hunsaker, friends of the show.
Hey.
How's it going? I was just waving into the mic.
The phone.
Yeah.
That's good audio. That's good podcasting.
They can see us through the
ether.
spectral void. Yeah. So thanks for being here tonight, guys.
I hope I don't sound like I'm wearing pajamas.
Well, I doubt you did, but now you definitely did. We are done with Rambo and moving into spooky October. And
Instead of war-torn September.
yeah. You know what? I'm just ready for a movie without guns. And here comes Poltergeist to save the day.
Movie with stakes.
Ooh, yes. Creepy stakes.
Before we get too far into it, Eliz, where can they get in touch with us?
Yeah, you can send us an email to sequelrights@gmail.com with your ghost stories or suggestions for future franchises, or find us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, Overcast or Spotify. The reviews are kind of the only currency in the podcasting business, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, and, we always talk about how we're going to read your review on here if you send us one, and we just happened to get one since we last posted an episode. So here we go. This one comes in from Big Dap 6000. He sent over, or she sent over a 5-star review titled Pure Fun. The review reads, great show. That's a lot of fun. Sometimes even more than the movies themselves. There you go.
That's mediocre praise.
No, it's a 5 stars.
Good.
Pure fun.
No. I was more talking shit about the movies than our level of entertainment.
Thank you, Big Dap.
But
We
thank you,
love
Big
you.
Dap, yes.
6,000.
Thanks for writing
We
in.
do love you, 6,000.
And by the way,
played.
if you ever give us a review on one of the international versions of iTunes that is not the American version, you should send us a screenshot because otherwise we will never see it. But it's still super helpful. But send us a screenshot so we can recognize you.
Well, why don't we get right into it? 1982, Poltergeist.
The house looks just like the one next to it. And the one next to that. And the one next to that. A young couple live in it.
Give Ken a kiss.
You are so obnoxious.
With their 3 children.
Honey, chew each bite 10 times.
And something more.
They're here.
Something more. So let's start with our poltergeists. Joseph and Alyssa, had you guys seen Poltergeist before? You have any past with this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's
Definitely.
it's something, it's just kind of always been in that the lexicon of movies that has either been on TV or been on, cable or whatever, and it's just kind of like we've seen it as children of the 80s.
I feel like it's thoroughly integrated with our psyches in a lot of ways. Just, I saw it, I think, probably when I was 8 years old first.
Dang.
Because it was PG, right? It was like watchable
I mean,
if a child at that age.
They just showed it on TV all the time.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
And
Surprising
Even-
for a movie that's so anti-TV.
Yeah, even the face ripping?
yeah.
The face ripping, I bet, was cut out.
Edited? Maybe?
Do you need to?
Dude, I probably saw it in different forms, like on TBS
Right.
Sundays, where a ton of shit was edited out, and then
Yeah.
also,
That is a
True form.
yeah,
That is a weird phenomenon where it's like on TBS, the movie, if depending on what time it's airing, has
Yeah.
different scenes in it. Where it's like, oh, it's TBS during the day. It's like, oh, well, like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then TBS at night,
TV.
face ripping,
Faces melt off.
and then enjoy an episode of Gilligan's Island.
Children get eaten by trees.
but I would say to that point that it's really resonated with me.
Nice. Yeah. This is a movie that, like, as I was watching it again, I was like, I feel like I actually haven't seen it that many times, but it's so memorable that, like, every scene I'm like, oh yeah, it's this scene. Oh yes, here comes this scene.
I've never seen it before or any of these movies, but then like during the whole movie, I was like, okay, that, and that's where that's from, and that's that, you know. Like,
So this is one of those where I thought that I had seen it, and I had not.
Whoa!
I had not seen this
Oh
movie, guys.
man.
I mean, it was pretty spoiled because I already knew that like they moved the headstones, but
Yeah.
not the bodies. I was like, I know that already,
Oh, right.
so that's sort of But and I knew
that-
about like Carol Ann because like I think Cartman has an episode where he's doing that with the woodshop teacher or whatever. But like that's all I knew.
It's crazy though, because you watch it and you realize how much of just horror.
Yeah, it's
has
just
been
such a touchstone of horror.
influenced,
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
it.
it's all over the place.
And what a Steven Spielberg horror movie looks like.
Produced by Steven Spielberg, directed by Tobe Hooper.
Controversially, perhaps directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I feel like that's a whole giant section of the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's mostly been put to bed.
I did read into this pretty heavily. If we want to get into it now, or we can get into it later.
I mean, may as well just do it now.
Okay, so Spielberg produced it, and he wrote the script, and it's one of the first screenplays that he wrote. And so the thing that is absolutely true is that he was on set pretty much every day. Mm-hmm. And he was helping Tobe Hooper make decisions. And if there was an LA Times article where Stephen was like, yeah, so like he's not like the most like gung ho type of upfront guy. So, but if he doesn't have an idea, like I'll have an idea and I'll go with it. And so a lot of people that were on the movie said that Spielberg directed the scenes that they were in. Spielberg was doing what, did most of the things. Then he wrote an open letter to Tobe Hooper being like, yeah, like that quote was misconstrued. Like it's, it was an amazing collaboration. He was a great friend on this podcast. On this great friend on the production and it was a great collaboration. The DGA actually looked into it. They didn't find anything, but there was also a director's strike coming, so they didn't necessarily want to implicate Steven Spielberg in violation to the Guild. And also, Spielberg could not direct this movie with MGM because he had obligations over at for E.T. So I think that there is definitely some Tobe Hooper scenes in this, and I think that there is a lot of Steven Spielberg in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it. Tobe Hooper passed away fairly recently, few years ago, and I think people really came out more after that. Really saying like, he directed that movie, like.
Yeah,
and I do think it was just a really close relationship, and I'm sure it was complicated. So maybe because there's quotes from people on the set being like, no, Steven Spielberg did everything, and then people saying the opposite. I feel like it was just probably a really close situation. And
it's also probably just like a personality thing. Like there's some people that like he may have come up with things that other people attribute to Spielberg because Spielberg was louder or more.
Well, I think there's also
and Spielberg had already written and storyboarded the movie,
Sure,
so it's like there's a lot of that shit that's already there. Like.
But I think the thing that's unfortunate about a lot of that sentiment is that people just are like, Tobe Hooper couldn't have done this movie.
No, yeah, and it fucked him over.
Yeah, and I'm like,
really,
I just feel really bad about that.
Could
Because
you guys discern scenes from one versus the other if you had to like compare?
from scenes that I thought was from Tobe Hooper. Yeah. Okay, the steak is definitely Tobe Hooper. Some of the wide angle stuff is Tobe Hooper, and a lot of the crazy camera moves where it's panning back and forth, especially when the mom's dyeing her hair. Total Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it really kind of illustrates this idea of close collaboration when I see it.
Although
and how you get involved in the other person's, aesthetic vision of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, you just feed off of each other, right?
There's this amazing clip off this Laserdisc feature that has Steven Spielberg talking about, like, this is like the first time that we're going to see like ghosts, but like not ghosts as people coming down. Like the first time we'll see ghosts coming down the stairs, and like he's getting so excited about the way he's talking about it. And Tobe Hooper's in the background, like, yeah, like it's going to be amazing.
I know. I was thinking about like how they put out this. Normally I buy the Blu-rays or stuff because that's what I do.
Justin and I bought the Blu-ray camps.
They put out the like 25th anniversary one or whatever, and it had like no special features on it. So I was like, I wonder if that whole controversy too lends to there being mysteriously no like behind the scenes footage and stuff.
That Laserdisc featurette pretty much only shows Spielberg doing it.
Yeah.
And it's been actively taken down by Warner.
Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't surprised to read that this was like originally supposed to be like a sequel to Close Encounters because the aliens and the ghosts look the same. The kid looks exactly the same. Like if they put a wig on that boy, it could have just been this girl. And like
it could have just been Richard Dreyfuss.
Like
looks just like him.
Yeah, I've seen Close Encounters so many times because it's like one of my dad's favorite movies, so I was like seeing a lot of those similarities too, which I guess kind of reminded me of Steven Spielberg, but I don't know enough about Tobe Hooper to be like that wasn't him,
So for me, just getting back to like the thing that's most exciting about this movie, because I grew up in a tract home. I grew up in a carbon copy house.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and it's like and knowing
take on suburbia.
Yeah, and knowing that Spielberg's from Arizona and just like that's where it's from, it's like you can't have a ghost story in a house that doesn't have any history, it doesn't even have any identity. Like, how does that work? And enter this movie, and that's my favorite thing about this movie is like it's a ghost story for carbon copy suburbia. Like the Applebee's is haunted, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm totally with you on that.
The rotting history underneath your fancy copy paste home.
Yep.
I kept thinking of the like the blue what is it called, something Valley or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Sudden Valley.
Sudden Valley. I was like, it's like that basically.
Yeah, that was how I grew up.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
We went. I grew up in. Okay, this was filmed in Simi Valley, this film. I grew up in a nearby valley, not that valley, but it's basically the same. And, you see developments in different stages, building, and...
We used to go drink this half-finished like sub-developments. It was just like, we can just go in the houses, break in. They're going like, I grew up in Creekside, and then my parents moved to Crown Point, which are both named... developments of I live in this block of houses basically.
Totally. And it became, if you were a teenager, it became like a playland almost, but it was creepy because like there would be streets built and only street lights and no houses.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty fucking
So it's an inherently creepy place to start with.
Yeah.
Minus all the poltergeists.
Yeah.
right.
So when we're seeing these shots of the valley and all the houses, up on the credits pops music by Jerry Goldsmith, and I was like, yeah, 2 in a row.
No, we're on such a Jerry Goldsmith kick this round of sequel rights, and this score is amazing. It's great.
Yes.
I have it up on the wall right
Which
now.
I didn't realize that it was. I was noticing. I was like, I didn't realize that that's what that was.
Yeah.
The art is amazing,
And it's like one of the first vinyl records I bought from Mondo, and I had this whole obsession with it. But
Nice.
the music is so great. It's like it's in my opinion like one of the great like horror themes because Jerry Goldsmith crafts this like Carol Ann's theme, which is like this lullaby, but it can be like twisted in so many ways in the movie. It's great. It's like sometimes. It's never been creepier to hear like a bunch of kids singing this like very like it sounds like a lullaby you've heard a million times, but it's new for this movie. And then at the same time, it can sound creepy as fuck, or it can sound like super sweeping for moments where there's like some heroic thing about to happen. It's just a great score, and he does a really awesome job on this. And every time it happened, I was like, just lends to the like classic status of this movie for me.
yeah.
And it starts out right away with he plays the Star Spangled Banner, and I love this like creepy like take your time intro to the movie where we're seeing the opening titles, and it's just this like super zoomed in TV screen where you can't really tell what's happening, and the Star Spangled Banner's playing. And I love too that like if you watch this movie today, people there's so many things in this movie that people will just be like, what? That's a thing? But yeah. They used to play the Star Spangled Banner, and the TV channel would just be done for the night.
It took a while for me to realize.
We'd all stand up, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then go to bed.
No.
Yeah.
It's crazy that was what they chose for the sign off,
Right.
For like TV for the night.
Yeah, it's so funny.
They did that in
Now it's just
Brave
Slapshot.
Little Toaster too on the
Yeah.
radio. I was like, why are they playing Star Spangled Banner? And until they like zoomed out a little bit more, and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot.
We're in
Like,
America.
Duh.
It's actually anti-American that we don't do that anymore.
Super Reagan.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah.
So then we get into the cast of this movie, which is fantastic.
We've got America's Dad,
America's
Craig
Dad,
T.
Craig T. Nelson. Yes.
Coach Craig
T. Nelson.
Stevens.
That's right.
Right? And Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Incredible.
And the grandpa from Parenthood. He's like
Yes.
a perennial dad in everything.
Which somebody was telling me that he was originally offered the role that Ed O'Neill took in Modern Family, and like that was his biggest regret that he didn't take that.
Oh, really?
Yikes.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
He's done better. Modern Family's not good
Yeah.
anymore, you guys. Stop watching it.
Oh shit!
Stop watching it.
Spicy take from
Stop
Modern
watching
Family. I never
it.
started watching it.
It's not
so.
funny. It's not funny.
Yikes!
You're gonna piss off so many.
So many Modern
Moms.
Families.
Yeah.
Did you notice that a lot of the framed photos in the house were just like really bad pictures of Craig T. Nelson? Like, not like I was like, couldn't they have like at least posed for some fake family photos or something? It was just like a picture of his face, like not smiling, not looking at anything. Like there were multiple pictures of just his face in the house.
I did not notice this.
He's a vain person. He's a vain
Yes.
dad.
Like the only picture I saw that wasn't him was the one that she put in the bird coffin. Like,
Right.
That is usually one of my
coffin.
biggest pet peeves, and I'm surprised I didn't actually notice it.
Yeah, me either.
oh, bad photos in the house.
Bad
Oh, okay.
family
Photographers,
photos
so-
in
Yeah.
particular.
Like we got into the movie clearly.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie starts off this like slow burn scene where and it kind of sets the tone for the whole movie. Like all of the like scare scenes are such a like slow build up, and you're like waiting for something to happen, and it's just like the dog going around the house, and it's a great way to familiarate. I was going to speak.
Familiarate.
Familiarize
Familiarate
the viewer familiarize the viewer with the location that the whole movie is going to be in.
Yeah.
Like the dog going around, and he's this dog is great. It's just like trying
This
to
dog
find
is
all
a
the human
good
food.
boy.
Find all the human food.
That dog kind of sucked.
Yeah. Why?
Dude,
What? Why are you hating on the dog? What did he do?
Nothing.
Oh,
It's a dog.
So you're saying the dog should have been some sort of Virgil going to
you were looking for Lassie.
for Benji.
Usually,
Yeah,
I mean,
or
that dog
Benji.
was the first one out
Yes.
in most of those scenes.
Yeah.
He was gone.
What about the time where he went to the bed, barked at the wall, and then brought a toy, and then barked at the wall again?
Yeah.
That was something.
I thought you were going to say you were mad at that the
He's
dog.
on the
Hey, he's
poltergeist
only
side.
human. It's okay.
I thought you were going to say that you were mad that the dog was like checking out the mom, like when she was getting naked to take a bath. At one time.
Well, that too.
weird.
That too.
There's a scene of the
That's
dog
a weird
like
dog.
looking. Its eyes are like looking up at her, and I'm like, that's kind of weird.
He's looking at the ghost, guy.
Not in that scene. There's not supposed to be
there's ghosts there.
Yeah, but not in the bathtub.
Yeah, they were right above the bathtub, weren't they?
I don't think so.
I didn't really get negative feeling from the dog.
Yeah, I thought the dog was cute.
So you're saying that's it. So when you're saying when it's the beast, that you think that it's possibly the dog.
The
There's
thought
a-
crossed my mind.
There's only one beast in the house. Definitely the dog.
I feel like the dog is us, actually.
That's
Failing.
There's a hilarious scene in the middle of the movie where they're like, all right, this shit is too real. Let's, the safest thing right now to do is to send my son away in a cab with no parents.
That part is so weird.
Yeah.
It's like he's 40.
Yeah.
And they're just like, call me.
Yeah, instead of saying like you think she's gonna be like, I love you, but instead she's just like, call me, okay?
And there's they never say where he's going or anything. It's just like in this cab. But there's a scene where like the kid heads towards the cab and looks back like, do I have to? And they're like, get in the cab. And he gets in the cab. And then the dog gets the exact same scene where like the dog runs towards the cab, pauses and looks back like, do I have to? And then gets in the car with the kid and they just drive off to somewhere.
Friends.
Probably their murders, I assume.
That was such a weird scene. Like, I wrote like an entire page about it in my notes here. Like,
Why
I
would
don't
they
get
do
it.
this?
Yeah, why?
Did the older
Why?
sister like leave already?
She's-
Yeah, she went. To
She was
her
at a friend's house.
Yeah, she's
a
barely in the movie.
teenager, so
Yeah.
you can just
It's not scary
accept
when
that
teenagers
she's
are in trouble.
not
No.
around, right?
Although I do like that, like the way that it's broken down. Like she starts freaking out first. Like some of the kids are like, "Oh, like weird stuff's happening," and she's like, "This shit's bananas. Like I am out."
Like even before they start investigating, they're like, "Yeah, our other daughter doesn't even sleep here anymore." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
But I think that what we're getting into is the strongest thing about this movie is that this family is the way that these characters are constructed is amazing, and they're very realistic and they feel true. Like the mom and dad feel. Although if you do the math on the mom and dad, they were teenage parents.
yeah.
Well, they
and
said-
I think that's like,
It's said.
Yeah, in the trailer, it's like a young couple lives, and I was
Yeah.
like,
She was like 16 or something.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
also
she was
say-
16 when they had the
yeah,
teenager.
because they say a young couple with 3 kids, and I was like, what?
yeah, they're like
young couple.
smoking
she was
pot.
32. Yeah.
You don't have to be young to smoke.
Yeah, but I think that's what they were like trying to imply with that they were like, they grew up too soon.
Right. But they still had like a 16-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's too bad for them.
That's Simi Valley. Simi Valley, baby.
I know someone I love dearly that lives in Simi Valley, but like I really don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so I'm not going to pass. Judgment.
I do feel like not all the children are created equally. I feel like Robbie was a real shithead in this movie.
Well, that's why he has so much Star Wars stuff. He's a Rams fan.
And I kind of feel like if Robbie would have been the one that got taken, they might have been like,
So, do you think that
We're good.
So, there's a
Let's
point
just leave.
where like Robbie's getting chewed up by the tree, and then Carol Ann's going to get sucked into the closet. Do you think that they would have been happy with either kid,
what do you mean?
or like the poltergeist? Like they're trying to bring them to the other side. Like,
Yeah, I
that's what
think I think either kid. Yeah,
Either
because
kid
in
would
the
be fine.
because in the end they're trying to get both kids, and it doesn't really.
I
matter.
mean, but if you had to choose, you want Carol Ann's life force, right?
Yeah.
Like Robbie's a little bit of a
just
shit.
what I was
small
saying
bundle of
was
light.
there's like
That's
a
fine.
couple scenes with Robbie where like he's being a dick at the breakfast table, and then like the very next scene after they rescue Carol Ann, he's like arguing with Carol Ann about some toy.
Do you know who he
I
reminds
thought he
me
was
of?
fine.
Just being a douchebag.
He wants
Elvis.
to dig up the bones of the bird.
Yeah,
And
see?
like, you know.
Oh yeah, from the tree. He's like, meh,
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
He's
see it
just-
after it
being-
rots or whatever.
I didn't think he
He's
was
just
that
a, he's
bad.
just a total creep.
Me either.
It might be because we have the same sheets, but
He was,
you know.
he was an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, I
all
know,
right.
It is funny.
See
I had the same pillowcase as Carol Ann, like that, like weird multicolor thing. I was like, oh shit.
No, I mean, like, I have Star Wars sheets right now. Yeah, but anyways. He has a ton of Star Wars stuff.
I know.
He's got
which
everything.
is which is really weird.
In
of
every
like,
shot,
I think it's meant for it to be like I was talking about that. Like, oh, it's crazy how Steven Spielberg like canonized his friend in his own movie of like these things, but it's all. She's like, that's just what my girlfriend was like. That's just what my brother's room looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what,
I
that's
think
what
that
it is.
that's
accurate.
like it's the it's realistic in that way, but that's not the way that I saw it retroactively looking at it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually just more unusual that he keeps that stupid clown doll around. Like, he obviously doesn't like it, so why do you keep it in there? It doesn't match any of his other shit.
I think we can all agree. Fuck
That
that.
Clown.
Yes.
Like,
No, that was I love this because I was like annoyed by Robbie, but he also gets the most traumatized. I feel out of
Yeah.
all the kids.
wow, you
so
really
I was
didn't like him.
I was like, yeah, I know that clown's gonna attack you. Just let it happen.
I love that there's this like spill light on it
Yeah.
in the rocking chair. and
Well,
she's
first of all, like, why
yeah.
would you put the clown in that
Exactly.
position?
Yeah.
No.
Like, and she's checking everything else except like what's glaringly.
It's in, like, a
creepy
totally
in the room.
random
That's
spot
a proper
in
clown configuration.
It's not like against the wall. The rocking chair is like literally right in front of his bed, facing his bed. Like, why would it be in that spot?
Here's an important question. So Robbie like sees the clown. He's like, "Oh boy, like I don't like that at all." He throws his jacket on it. One time it works. The second time he misses, and his jacket is emblazoned with a photo of Chewbacca.
and that's why he lost.
So do you think
his
that
spot
if,
in the Little League.
do you think that if he had the jacket the second time, the power of Chewbacca would have kept the clown at bay?
Maybe,
Yes.
maybe.
Certainly.
There are certain rules apparently when you're a child.
Sure.
That, like, you know, will stave away ghosts and spirits and like crazy poltergeists.
Sure.
Probably. Throwing something over something else.
Yeah.
is definitely one of them.
Yeah, for sure. Going under the covers is the easiest
Under the covers
and best way.
and then like playing music. As long as you have your music, you're good.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So like,
Don't take the headphones out.
yeah,
Don't be like, wait, what? Although I do love about this movie is that there's something in your closet, there's something underneath your bed. Like it's all real, and you're fucked.
Yeah, the one jump scare where the clown gets him, like when I'm watching movies at home, most of the time here for horror movie night, I rarely get like jump scared by something at the house. Like usually it's in the theater only. But yeah, that one, like I was actually like, what?
You're talking about the later.
Yeah, where it
clown
grabs him, where the
scene.
clown grabs him.
that's
Yeah,
in bed.
yeah.
Yeah, guys, I had some. I got some real anxiety from watching this movie because it builds up the tension in a way that's masterful, and cinematic techniques work very well on me. And so I had a very difficult time with some of these scenes where I was just like, just grab him, clown! Like I know it's happening. Stop it.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
Yeah, it's so great. And it's like at the same time that they like do this slow build to like crazy
Clown town.
Clowns or like suddenly an explosion of wind or something. There'll be so many scenes that have this slow build, and then they'll just end with like a clap. Like one of the first scenes where they all get blown back off of the stairs. It just like the scene shows everyone hitting the ground, and then it's like snap to the like later in the night when they all wake up, and it's just like something was so awesome and energetic about the way that it just build to a crescendo and an explosion of something, and then just cut to the next scene. And I was always like, it would leave you breathless for a moment because it would be so fast. And there's stuff like that towards the end too, where people are just screaming, and then like a door slams and it's into the next thing, and and I just love the
It's
the pace
paced
of that.
really well.
There's one cut that was so weird. I kept thinking it was a mistake, and I like rolled it back a couple of times.
Us too. I know
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah,
what you're
it's like
talking
after
about.
they're looking at the chairs move, and then all of a sudden they're just at the neighbor's front door. I was like, is this a mistake?
So I love that scene. I want to get to the chairs thing because that's one of my favorite things about this movie. But in that scene, it seems like they're just stoned as shit. And
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to.
I think
So
that's true.
I think it skips the scene where they just kind of like got stoned.
Yeah.
Because like
No,
they seem so.
cut it. Like
Yeah.
it's an edit.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's- When we were watching it, I was like, oh, they're totally stoned still at the neighbor's house, and they're
Right.
like, and my friend, who I was watching it with, was like, no, they're just like, awkwardly trying to explain. I'm like, no, they were just smoking pot. Like,
No, they're still-
They were just smoking pot,
they cut
messing with the
out
chair thing. Yeah.
some of the drug, whatever content.
But he had just come home though.
No, but here, so this is what I think happened, and we have to get into one of my favorite thing about this movie is that they find out that, like, so the mom sees that the disturbance is, she tells all the kids to tuck all the chairs into their little breakfast nook, and then they're all out, and then she turns around, they're all stacked up, and then it cuts to Craig T. Nelson at work.
Iconic scene.
yeah.
This is an iconic moment.
And so Craig T. Nelson comes and she's like, come here. And they have it all chalked out of this chair has a predictable movement of whatever you place in this spot slides across and moves over this way. And so she's so like her performance here is incredible because she's terrified and giddily excited all at the same time.
This is Jo Beth Williams
Yeah,
you're
Jo
talking
Beth
about.
Williams. The amount of awe and like she balances being truly amazed by these things and being terrified at them all at once in a way that is delightful.
And Carol Ann is like totally over it. She's like, I'm hungry. Get me a damn pizza. And they're like, no, do the magnet thing again, or the ghost thing again, whatever. Like,
And so it's doing that. So I think what happened is that so she was doing with the kid and they do that, and then they just fucked with it and they get stoned and then messed with the thing a little bit more, and then they're like, oh, we got to go tell other people about this. So I think that scene
like
was
that
totally
idea.
shot because I mean, what would you do?
Right.
But yeah, maybe it had to do with like the fact that because you see them smoking in a different scene, but maybe it was because you didn't see the immediate effects of it or something, and so maybe in order to get a lesser rating, they cut out that scene.
They definitely
Right. You get-
seemed
Yeah.
stoned.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were acting stoned.
it's just so
You
abrupt.
get one pot smoking scene.
well, maybe
For
even
PG-13.
in that
For
scene
PG.
where they're smoking, like they never say that they're smoking pot, right?
No.
So maybe they were like, you could just think it's a cigarette.
I just roll my own cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe since there wasn't any explicit
I just
reference.
roll my own big old spliff cigarette.
I mean, that's what the MPAA would do. They'd be like, there was no explicit reference of drugs. It could have been a.
Well, and it's a PG movie.
tobacco
We all
cigarette.
know.
Exactly. So, I bet that's probably what happened.
But no, I love how it starts like, this is weird, but let's play, like, let's see what happens.
Oh yeah, and then she puts like the kid in the fucking
Ram's helmet.
Yeah, the helmet is just like boo, like down.
And the girl's like, ow, it hurts. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, baby.
Hurting my
Gotta
butt.
put more wax on the floor. Yeah. That was so funny. Great
So yeah,
scene.
weird stuff starts happening in the house, including Carol Ann going up to the TV at night, which I, for some reason, thought she was going to get sucked into the TV for sure. Like, I guess, but she didn't.
She kind of does.
Yeah. But then, ultimately, the first big, like, set piece is Robbie's getting pulled into the tree and Carol Ann is getting pulled into the closet. Every time that they do Carol Ann getting sucked into the closet, it's clearly a doll taped to a bed with a fan on it because it is not a real human and it is just like blowing everywhere.
It did do a cool thing where the bedroom set seemed to be like it was like tilted up, like it was a fake
Yeah,
set
it
and the
must
camera was
be.
down, and
Yeah.
like, that was awesome.
Yeah,
like,
that
the
was really
practicality.
It's got to be on a thing, but yeah, it was like so clearly a doll.
I love
With kicking legs.
all of the bedroom scenes.
Yeah.
It's like fucking evil Mary Poppins.
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's shot in a way that's unsettling, and I think like weirdly that's some of the Tobe Hooper stuff of like the weird stuff of like, hey, let's just have a camera roll here, and then we're just gonna build this whole set. And it's gonna be tipped this way, and we're just gonna shoot it the way that that's gonna actually look.
Yeah.
like that's not a Spielberg thing whatsoever.
I just don't like that the
And it's
parents
unsettling.
everyone is so preoccupied with saving Robbie that like
Although I will
they
say,
don't even
They didn't know
care
that
about.
the
Yeah, 'cause they're
closet
bad
was going to
parents.
suck you
'Cause they're
in. They
bad
saw the
parents.
kid go out the window. Of course, you're going to go after that one.
Terrible parents.
I love that
Never
the
split up the kids.
the
Seems a
tree.
little harsh.
The tree just like I was watching. I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna say the tree. It's gonna do like a," and then it's just like, nope, boom! Like I'm getting you.
Yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
eating him alive.
Yeah, very
tree.
quickly.
And it's
was
kind of
gross.
unclear. Yeah, it's kind of unclear. Like, is that going to put him in the portal, or is he just going to die?
He seems to be covered in a lot of blood and
Yeah, one of the
grossness.
one of the
Ectoplasm?
Well, he's not covered in as much ectoplasm
No, it's
as
always, like,
because the ectoplasm
dirty.
is established as pink, and like he's
That's
in like
true.
this
That's
orange,
true.
like it's
Yeah.
like it seems like blood.
It's
Yeah,
just
one of-
sap. It's like blood and dirt.
It's maple
mixed
syrup,
together. Yeah.
one of the creepiest scenes is actually right after this when he's totally covered in blood, and everyone is like going around the house looking for Carol Ann, like where is she?
Oh, yeah.
And he gets left in front of the TV, and he's the first person who starts to hear her, and he is just like freaking out, and you can tell he's getting like so traumatized. And he's like, and he's just like his face looks like he is.
He shit on his own face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Like he
There
has
was also
seen
clearly-
the face of death.
There was clearly like some cut where they re-gooped him at some point because he got like
yeah.
dirtier at a certain
Yeah.
point in the night.
He's like screaming bloody murder, and no one's hearing him.
And so then this leads to my favorite cut in the movie because it cuts from this to a university.
Who are you gonna call?
And before this is 2 years before Ghostbusters, which
This
is
they're the
before a lot
original.
of
they're the
stuff.
original kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, like I
The
looked this
real-
up. I was like, okay, so is this the first time that we've seen paranormal investigators like this in a movie? And I think yes. I mean, except for like weird noir,
Yeah.
like
Right.
Usually
But
it's
at
more
least
the clairvoyant
mainstream.
person, like
Right.
the lady that comes later, not
Yeah.
like these
It's,
scientists.
It's the first time we've seen Ghostbusters special effects in a movie too.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's basically the same stuff. in
It is. It's ILM, man.
Yeah.
Swirly green,
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff.
Lasers and fog.
Yeah.
Lasers and fog and
Dog
Exciting.
monsters.
dog.
Dog monsters.
So yeah, but it cuts to Craig T. Nelson, and he looks haggard, and he's talking to these people at this university, and like he's already has like this grizzled ghost veteran like thing going on.
You know
He's
what I
just
really
"I've
like
seen
about
some
that?
Shit. Yeah.
Sorry to
Yeah,
cut
go.
you
No,
off.
go ahead.
But
Don't be sorry.
that's the beginning of the cardigan scenes that I like to call them.
Yes, the cardigan phase of Craig T. Nelson's
Yeah.
performance.
And I'm into that. After he takes off the cardigan, it's another story.
That's his frustrated disillusionment with capitalism face.
I just feel like his fucked up face, like, because you can see the makeup and stuff. Like it works with the cardigan, and then they take it off, and he just looks like, oh man, this guy's about to die.
Yeah.
This old man is about to die when he's not wearing the cardigan. I don't know.
No, the cardigan look is amazing.
So at this point, she's been missing for like 2-3 days?
We don't know.
Yeah. Like,
And one of my favorite lines in this is where he's like, we haven't gone to the police.
yeah, that's crazy.
Which, it's crazy, but it's not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you're in your house and you're like hearing her, but you don't know where she is, I don't think going to the police is going to be the best.
It's true. The
Right.
police probably just
They'll be like,
lock
"You
up."
murdered your daughter.
Yeah.
Go to jail now." Yeah,
But even so, like, they were so traumatized that sometimes they almost seemed like too calm. Like, I feel like if your daughter really was like missing, you would be even more like.
But that's why that cut works so well. Is like we don't need to see all of that, and it's him there doing it, and like his performance does so much of being like I saw a car move like over 7 hours, and he's like, cool. Here's this room.
when
do
they open
seem-
the door.
Yeah, sorry. They do seem very jaded.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
through this ordeal for like what seems like a few days.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like it's been happening for years.
Yeah.
Or something.
Which
in that
I'm
interview.
It could feel that way, but at the same time, it's like I want to know, like, is this something that was in the paper, or were there just like ghosts?
Well, yeah,
Ghosts.
Yeah, it's like in a lot of the like. I used to listen to this podcast where people came on and told like personal experiences with ghosts. I can't remember the name of it right now. No, it wasn't Spooked. Something different. People called in and stuff, but obviously in most of the situations, like a child hasn't disappeared, but a lot of time with these kind of hauntings and stuff, like it's like a gradual thing over a long period of time. So people do get worn down like that.
Right.
Where at first they're just like, it's nothing. And then it's like starts to like really fuck with their minds and stuff. So I think that's an accurate portrayal, minus the part where your daughter's missing, where you think that would escalate things a little bit faster.
Sucked into limbo or whatever it is.
Classic telltale heart symptoms.
But yeah, we get this group of 3 ghost hunters that come to the house, and they're kind of like, yeah, I love the guy like is bragging about this like thing he caught where the car moved really slowly, and yeah, you get that scene where he's like, oh yeah, well come check out our house, and they open up the bedroom to where the kids slept, and it's just like chaos.
Things are fine. There's a Hulk riding a horse.
This is where the special effects are not so great.
One thing on Hulk
Okay.
riding the horse is I was so delighted by that scene. I started writing this verbose note, and then I paused it to go use the restroom, and my friend that I was watching the movie with decided, and I only discovered this today, she wrote in, because I said, the Hulk horseback riding. And she said, like he's horse riding your mom.
Yeah, I could see that.
Bareback. Nasty. That's what she said.
I love in that scene too. Like there's like a record like flying around, and then a compass comes on it and like plays the record while it
And it
spins.
starts playing.
Yeah, so stupid. But this is the part where you're like, oh yeah, well, I guess this was a limitation. Everything else in the movie
the
looks really
dictionary.
good. Everything else looks great, and this one, it's like you can see they're like, whoa,
But-
get out of my face.
I think that it is crazy. Like this movie still works mostly. Most of the effects hold up.
That's
And
really
it's-
the only scene where I was like,
and it still feels incredibly modern. And like 82 is early.
Yeah.
Like this is like ILM's like 4th or 5th movie. Like this is like the fact that these effects exist at all is crazy, and like I just kind of love the weirdness of them. Like they kind of have a Sam Raimi, Evil Dead funness to them, even when I believe that Evil Dead maybe was 82. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it garnered them an Academy Award nomination for visual effects.
There you go.
The one that I did not like, or that I thought aged really poorly, was the face melting. Like it looks very.
You can tell as soon as it switches to the face of a fake person. But it's still a great, like...
No, it's a great idea, and it's like a
Yeah.
frightening image, but it does not hold up.
Oh, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once it
was
gets
horrifying to
going
me.
and it's past the point where you're like, can clearly tell it's a fake face, then it's better. But there's a moment where he's just like picking at some makeup, obviously. And
Yeah.
then suddenly it's like a totally plastic face.
What I did like about these scientists was that the woman was the most competent, the black guy was okay, and the white guy was worthless.
yeah.
I don't even remember the white guy.
He's the one whose face melts off.
Yeah.
He's the one
Yeah,
who gets. He was the one who gets
I
bit.
remember.
Yeah, he gets bit.
Oh yeah, and his like
Yeah.
weird rib cage.
He was the one who's not coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
think
would-
I just
Totally
wrote
gonna
him
cook
off.
that steak though.
Oh, God.
Which was super
steak.
weird. It's just like, oh, we're staying over at this house. Oh, it's 2 a.m. Time to fry me up a little T-bone.
Dude, everyone was weird.
That I
Everyone
did
was weird in
buy.
this movie. The construction worker just like reaching through the window
Oh my
to like
God.
try the chili that's on the cooker.
The construction.
Yeah.
workers.
But
Construction
hey,
workers hitting on the 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And then her mom is like, "Yeah, daughter, you flipped them off."
Yeah, she's like, "That's my girl."
She laughs
from the
like,
window, and you're like, "Okay, 1982."
so that construction worker guy. I'm surprised it has not come up yet. But there is a curse associated with this movie of a lot of people dying in unexpected ways.
Yeah, go for it.
And that construction worker is one of them.
Really?
How would he die?
I forget. No, he was murdered by an escaped convict with an axe.
What?
In his own home.
During the movie or
No, years later.
years later? Oh
point.
my God.
Yeah.
This is one of those cursed movies.
This is one of
like
those
they
cursed
say,
movies,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Part of
I was
the reason is that it was long rumored that the skeletons in the pool scene after the famous they move the headstones, they move the body, and all these bodies start popping up were actual skeletons.
Oh, God.
And I did some digging on this, and that's true.
Oh.
They were medical skeletons that they doctored. They got them from a medical supply company in India. And they're bleached and cleaned, and they doctor them and looked it up. But the way that I know that it's true is that there was a one of those like Steven Spielberg stole our idea like lawsuits, and so the prop master said under oath that they were actual human remains.
Oh shit!
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and so the main actress did not know that at the time,
Yikes.
which
She looked pretty scared anyways.
yeah. It was,
That's scary. I mean, you're in the water.
But I mean,
you know.
they did doctor them, but she thought they were rubber and whatever they were. So yes, so that is the alleged start of the curse. This was running before. I don't know if we want to get into child star check-in.
We can.
But I didn't know if you this was a topic of discussion between my girlfriend. If you had heard of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I had heard of
Yeah,
this.
I had not heard of it.
Because I was like, oh, Elisa's going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
I had heard of this, yes.
With the
Yeah.
Unfortunate
Yes.
demise of
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so we can do the child star check-in, which is like a real downer.
Yeah.
One of the biggest downers since that Chuck Norris kid shot himself in the head.
That's another fun stuff to say, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually my favorite part too. This is going to be very sad.
So yeah, Robbie is alive. We'll start with the good stuff.
That bastard.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Much to Justin's dismay, Oliver Robbins is alive. He's 48 now, and he's currently showing his movie Celebrity Crush at the festivals, like right now.
At the festivals.
The festival.
Yeah, various
Coming to a festival.
festivals.
near you.
Yeah.
The festival.
It's basically like Misery, but if some girl became obsessed with a dude that was in a horror movie when he was younger, and then like
Oh, so it's
Kidnapped
about
him.
himself.
Oh, so-
maybe if he was ever kidnapped or had an obsessed fan.
Oh, so my life with David Arquette.
I don't know.
You captured
Nobody
him?
knows that reference.
Yeah, sorry.
And now from
Anyways,
Scream from Eight-Legged Freaks. Anyway.
so maybe we'll
Tried really hard to forget that movie.
Yeah.
maybe his movie will get a release or something, and we can watch it. Anyways, then so Dominique Dunn, who played Dana, the 16-year-old daughter, who was actually 22 at the time of filming, and so basically right after this movie, she moved in like with an abusive boyfriend, and there was a bunch of incidents, and then he killed her. He admitted it pretty fast, so I guess there was no like long running case, but yeah, he like strangled her to death, and
in their home.
yeah.
Also, one of the things where people think this movie is cursed.
Yeah, this was right after the movie because the same year and everything. She was supposed to be on V, I guess, and they had to recast her. But anyway, and then Heather O'Rourke, who plays Carol Ann, died when she was 12 from intestinal stenosis and all like a birth defect that then was misdiagnosed and complicated, and she was taking weird drugs and weird things.
Yeah, what I
happened,
read
and
today
she
was
died.
just basically misdiagnosed Crohn's disease that
Yeah.
treated wrongly for a really long time.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
So, yeah, that's the curse, I guess. Are there other ones other than the construction worker? And
Yes,
the two
but they
kids?
get into the sequels and things like that, so
Yeah.
we can talk about it as we
Let's
go
follow the
further.
curse as we go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the curse.
Curse, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the worst child star check-in.
I know. We were talking about it. I was like, oh, if she doesn't know, this is gonna be bad. It's like, oh, let's just see what's happening.
No,
oh,
I didn't.
No.
I didn't know, but I remember when we were here the other night. I was like, I don't even know if there's kids in the movie. I know there's one, like, because I remember I know Carol Ann, but that's it. Yeah.
I think okay, so I was watching it with my friend, and we went on this whole tangent, which is why I missed like probably a quarter of the movie because we were talking about like her dad or her grandfather or something was a famous writer, right? And her brother is also an actor, Dominique Dunn.
Yeah, she's like Joan Didion's niece or something.
Right.
Like
Oh
that.
shit.
Yeah.
That's like California.
Yeah, royalty.
Yeah, and her
you know,
godfather was
whatever,
Gary
creative
Cooper.
Royalty.
Oh,
If,
fuck.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Really?
That
Yeah.
sounds weird, but that's kind of how I think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's insane. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
The Gary Cooper, Joan Didion dynasty. Jesus.
Well, that's a sad ending to
Yeah.
our couple of our childhood check-ins.
Child
But now
stars.
back to this fun
Child star
movie.
check-ins.
Woo!
Where did we leave off? Robbie's still alive.
Robin.
Well, we already covered the taxi goodbye scene. The other two kids are gone. It's just the parents in the house with the
Yeah,
scientists.
we have this awesome scene, you know, the first time we really get to see the ghosts as it floats down.
Oh yeah.
It floats down and then kind of like there's an explosion of light and everyone goes like, "Oh my god!" Someone
Yeah, they don't really know what to do because it's like pretty and it's
Yeah.
amazing and it's not threatening yet.
And I love
they're
that-
just kind of like, whoa.
Yeah, I love that the one guy who got bit, like his face is like he's terrified, and then the other guy Ryan, it looks like he's in awe and like it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love this about this movie where people are not like that. There's parts of it where they're just awestruck by it.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh my god, there's another side.
There's a scene with Ryan that I, found a little disturbing where awestruck turned a page. And I don't know if you guys want to skip to this, but
Doesn't
it's when
matter.
he catches the tennis ball.
Oh yeah,
The first tennis ball.
and he's like excited that it's his hand.
No, he gets it, and it's like slime, right?
Yeah.
Like slime covered, and he like wipes it off, and then he takes a huge whiff of it. Just
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Dude was into it.
And he was like his face was, that's the stuff. You know?
Well,
like-
Smells like science.
Wouldn't you want to know what ectoplasm smells like for the first time? Like, in
Yeah,
that
but I would be
quantity?
a little more like,
Like-
I'd be like, should I?
well, yeah, and there
you
was
know?
weirdly a lot of stuff about
He
smells
took it
and
like
stuff
a
in this
sock
movie.
that you're like,
There's
I
that-
wonder what my body odor smells like.
Exactly.
There's that moment where like Diane like this is after the apparition has first appeared, and then like a bunch of gust of wind blows through Diane, and she's like, "Oh my god,
yeah.
I can smell her! Carol Ann just passed through me," and they're all like, "Smell my clothes!" And
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think
So-
that's that weird
party.
though.
No, I
like
just-
if you're
I
a
just
mom,
meant-
you know what your kid
I didn't mean it
smells
was
like.
weird. I
Yeah.
just meant like maybe they were like obsessed about the smells.
I think that of
the
all the
other world and
senses,
stuff.
movies leave out smell.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So maybe
Unless
they
you
were,
go 4DX.
making an effort
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like bring
Yeah.
that into it. I get it. He just seemed like oddly pleasure.
Yeah, he
Like
definitely
he was like, what if this is where cocaine comes from?
Yeah.
One way to find out.
No, 'cause,
yeah.
like, he looked at the ectoplasm, he brushed it away a little bit, and he was like, and put his head back. Like,
Yeah, I mean, this was the guy who, like, after his coworker was like, I ripped my own face off and was eating maggots and I got bit by a ghost, was like, I'm going to stay by myself here while everyone else leaves.
right.
So, you know, he was super down for this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Steven was a professional.
He was a professional.
Yeah.
Sure. Ryan.
Ryan, yeah.
Ryan, my bad.
So, you know, they get this video, which this is awesome because
Yeah.
a lot of times when, you know, you've got ghost hunters in movies like taking a video of something, they either don't get it or
It doesn't show on
it
the
doesn't show
tape.
up, or maybe it's the same thing. This one, like, it shows up and you get to see what was actually happening because
Right.
their videos catch like all these ghosts, like shiny ghosts, when you can kind of see the heads of a person wearing a hat or something walking by, and they're like, it's so cool because it's another moment where like this movie, the whole movie is kind of a slow burn where you're slowly uncovering what's happening and more stuff happens each scene, and like their reactions are like, there's so many of them, oh my god, and they're like excited about it, but they're able to take this footage back to be, you know, analyzed, and then the lead, Dr. Lesh, she is going to come back with help, and she does, with Zelda Rubinstein in her another iconic role from these movies.
Just killing it.
Yeah.
Just killing it.
Who doesn't love her?
Nobody.
I can't remember how to pronounce her name. It's like Tangina Barons, I think.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
And she,
Tangina.
yeah, I know. I was like, it's probably not Tangina. But
Yeah.
Tangentially speaking.
But she's so great because she is just like throwing shade at everyone.
Yeah,
in
and
this
Craig
movie.
T. Nelson's like, who the fuck is this tiny lady? And he's like totally doubting her.
And again, I love his, like, they play everybody so true to character, and they allow him to be kind of shitty. But, be coach. Be coach.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't
But
like...
Craig T. Nelson's the only person who can do this, of be so lovable and be such an asshole.
Yeah, I was like, I did think that was really funny that he like doesn't believe her, but I was kind of like, you've seen so much crazy shit. Why would you suddenly think that this psychic lady is like too weird for you?
Well, it's not too weird. I think he's just like really like, this house has kicked my ass 7 ways till Sunday, and really this tiny old woman's gonna come and save me.
Yeah, but then he's like, but he does it like he doesn't believe that she could have psychic powers after everything he's seen.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I answered her in my mind and she didn't say anything.
But then she immediately was just like, I just don't like fucking trick questions. I heard you.
yeah, I love what she asks a question and nobody answers, and she's like, I'm addressing the living. In her
She's amazing.
very distinct voice. Which
By the
is,
way,
like, so
by
great.
this time, Craig T. Nelson already knows that there was a cemetery here. His boss told him that
Yep.
they moved
Right.
the cemetery, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, okay." Like he doesn't like. Even at that point, I would be like, well, that must have been bad, and that's what's causing this, you know?
But I guess in his mind, he's like, yeah, he did the right thing, so it can't be the cemetery.
I
guess.
love that scene because he's totally just fucking done and wants to leave, but like he's still flattered by this offer. Like it's like his boss is heaping praise upon him, and he's just kind of like, and he doesn't want to do it. He wasn't entertain it, but it's just like,
All those boss scenes are really weird. He's like
Yeah.
really intrusive. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
In his house.
Well, yeah, and
The whole
that scene is great for another
Space.
reason because the
Yeah.
boss shows up like out of nowhere, and at this point, nothing has been fixed in the house, right? So shit is still popping off crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And the boss comes in the house and he's like, "Oh, let me see what's going on in here." And like as he's talking, like the piano in the background starts to move, and Craig T. Nelson like quick turns the guy around like, "There's nothing to see here." And then like the piano's just like,
and then the front light starts to goes. Everybody's like, "What you got in here? 300-watt bulb?"
yeah. What are you trying to track all the bugs?
Oh, here's a question. So this chandelier that's in their entryway, right? Like I had the exact same chandelier. Did anybody else have this chandelier?
No.
I've
Like
seen
the-
it at
Like
Jenny's
it
house.
almost looks like a plumb bob that has like a 4 candelabra like light bulb in it. Yeah,
I'm familiar.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
What about it?
Chandelier.
So
Oh,
it
you were
was
just asking if we
if anybody else had it, everybody had that thing, and it's one of those things that was eerily, because it's so sterile and safe. I remember there was one time where an earthquake hit, like was big enough that I could feel it in Las Vegas, and this was in our first house there, so it must have been, I was in elementary school or something like that. And to see that thing moving unnaturally is such a spooky sight, which it happens in this movie as well, because it's just the most sterile object that you can think of.
Right.
Like, it's the tracked home chandelier that is put in place. It is then sitting in the same place across all of these houses. It is immovable and untouchable.
I think that contributes to this feeling of like suburbia anxiety throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I love it for that. And that's just a very early 80s or just 80s in general thing.
Yeah. Questa Verde.
So getting back to Tangina, whatever her name is, she gives like a really, really long monologue about what is happening and what should be done. And it's really great. Like, you're just like sitting there like, everyone's like in rapture.
It's
like, finally someone has answers.
Yeah, and she just like goes on and on and on about what they're gonna do. Like, if she were a villain, you'd be like, well, this is the monologuing scene, but no, she's good. And then at the end, she just ends it. She's like, no, let's go get your daughter. Like, it's so great.
I love how she compartmentalizes the information here, though, because she's like, this is the thing. This is the other thing. This is the scary thing. This is the horrifying thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this unless you will. Like, I love her disclaimer. She's like, will you do anything I say, even if it goes against everything that you believe?
Yeah.
And like, and
even as a good Christian.
yeah. And when the mom's like, yes, like it's believable. Like how over the top her performance is and how over the top like all the stakes is, because the movie has been slow burn up to this point. It all plays. It all works in a way that's just incredible.
Yeah. And she plans this amazing gambit to like test the portal,
right?
With these balls to see if because we've seen it happen down in the like living room, and we've seen it happen in the closet in the bedroom, and so she's testing it with these tennis balls, and it's such a great thing. Like, throw the ball in, you see what happens, and the ball drops out the bottom.
Was it her idea, or was it his idea to get some sweet ectoplasm?
Ryan was just like, let me sniff that.
It keeps him going.
Yeah. So what if we threw like a Sparklets jug through there, huh?
This is one of the scenes where I'm like so grateful for the lighting and fan budget in this movie, because the fans and like the strobe lights going on, it just gives such an other world. Like, there's not a lot of like part of this scene, like there's not a lot of effects happening, but just the wind, the constant crazy wind coming from seemingly nowhere, and the flashing lights just give this whole otherworldly thing. Like, finally someone's going to go in, and originally it's going to be Tangina, because she's like, I know, like, I'm going to go in. It can't be you. You don't know what you're doing. And then Diane's like, wait, you haven't done this either. And she's like, you're right. You go.
That is one of the best lines.
It's so good. Fantastic point. You go.
So good.
I also love how this is set up, where like the wife's going to go into the portal, and Craig T. Nelson's like, no, it needs to be me. And she's like, nobody else can hold the rope. Yeah. And like just the way that it's set up, it's just like, that is such a clean way to like have them have their moment and move to it, and like there's no debate. It's just like, write better, people. Yeah. Like, it's such a cinematic way of just like, there's not even arguments. Like, yep, you're right.
Yeah. And this is one of the moments where like Jerry Goldsmith's score really gets to shine, as like we're seeing like Stephen and Diane in profile with this crazy blue flashing light, and the music swells with that like kind of lullaby theme, but in kind of more of an epic heroic way, and they kiss, and it's like this awesome moment, and then she goes in, and then shit gets more crazy.
One thing I liked about this too is that everything in the room has been sucked into the portal by now. Every single piece of furniture, everything on the walls is sucked into the portal. And then Dr. Lesh comes to the door, and fucking C-3PO somehow survived right next to the door. There's nothing in the entire room except one C-3PO head on the wall.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg makes 2% on all those merchandise sales.
Very calculated.
Like, the entire bed, all the furniture, everything has been sucked in except for this bust of C-3PO.
That's a quality Lucasfilm product.
Yeah.
Also, just speaking of Lucasfilm, like the thing that I was looking at, like this is fucking crazy. And let's just like take a moment to talk about one of the most baddest women in Hollywood. Kathleen Kennedy is associate producer on this movie.
Yep.
And that means that she has been working for longer than I've been alive and making hit movies. And it's incredible.
Yeah, her first producing credit is E.T. So.
Yeah.
Big
Yes.
ups.
Yeah, big up. It's crazy. When I
I mean,
saw
how old was she during this time? Because like she looks good. Like I just saw her D23, and I wouldn't have put her above like.
she's in
60,
her
you know?
she's in 60. I believe she's 66. I looked at it today.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, she's been as I was thinking about it, I was looking at ILM and I was like, oh, like I wonder if, because I just read Adam Savage's book recently, like I wonder if it was ILM at this time. I was like, no, he wasn't in ILM for another 17 years as a young man working at ILM. Like, and she was associate on Raise the Lost Ark. And so started from all the way back then.
Yeah.
It's just
And of course,
incredible.
also Frank Marshall too.
Yes.
Producing partner.
And you know, idiots online think
life
she doesn't
partner.
know what she's doing.
I know.
These
It's just
people
like,
are stupid.
look at her filmography. She's made every movie ever.
Exactly. All the movies you love.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, big ups to that. I was incredible.
And it leads to like this amazing scene with one of the first like scary appearances of the ghosts.
Yes.
Where there's a lot of tension, and suddenly, Steve starts pulling back the rope too early, and she's like, no, it's not time. And he pulls it back, and then suddenly this giant fucking skull head comes out of the closet. Like,
I was
huge
not
head.
expecting that.
Yeah.
I was like, that took a turn that I was not guessing.
And like the actors in this movie, everyone is like, they practice their scream face to a T.
Yeah.
Because there's so many long
T.
shots.
Nelson.
Yeah. There's so many long shots of them just screaming that look so convincing, and like they're actually scared. I thought that was great.
I also love how like she was basically like, do exactly as I say. She does a 5-minute speech talking about like, I'm fucking serious. I'm really seriously this time. And they both are like, what? No.
But she kind of changes the game too. Like there's a lot of confusion about
but-
when you
no,
should
right.
and should not go into the light.
But that's what she was just like, you
Light
just
is a whole
like
thing.
her whole speech is just like, just do as I say
But
it.
she could have been more forthcoming and been like, okay, first at a certain point, we're going to switch and not go toward the light.
think-
And
I
then,
think
you know,
that
like,
the way that she does her like her thing, like she's very aware of how she's delivering her information, and I love like that the movie is set up for that and being like, no, she knows exactly what she's doing. Like I got that the entire time. It was just that their human emotion, like their reaction to it, because it's their kid, they were just not capable
It's
of
just
doing the
hard
thing that
for-
they thought that they could do.
Right. Any human to like completely put
Their faith into somebody
their
else.
faith in something. And
Yeah.
that's why I feel like this movie has sort of Christian undertones.
Yeah,
Not, I mean, but like a lot of stuff does.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like whatever.
Maybe
However-
Old Testament.
But it's like, it's hard to, in the moment, you know, yell at your child what you
Yes.
think is going, it might kill them.
Right.
Right.
Well, the
That's
whole
so many Bible stories right there. Just like,
Yeah.
And I don't even
get up on this altar, you.
no, don't kill your son.
We have a Discovery Zone knife for you.
Well, the whole thing pays off as all of a sudden, through all the panic and everything, Diane and Carol Ann come flying out of the ceiling, super grossly, covered in
goop.
Or
Covered in
Diane and
goop.
another doll of Carol Ann
Yeah.
covered in goop.
out of the womb once again.
Yeah.
And
And what's his face does not take a big whiff, so good.
It seemed like it'd be like prime ground for him. I don't know.
and
You know he did
Yeah.
later, just like secretly, just
and they're totally fine. And in the midst of all this, Tangina has this amazing scene where like she's like getting her hair ready, and then like looks at the camera that Ryan's holding and goes, "The house is clean."
This house.
And then I paused the movie for a split second, and I was like, "There's still 20 minutes."
I didn't know. And then they started like epiloguing, but after the epilogue went like after a few minutes, I was like, oh no, there's more because this is going on too long for it to be the end of the movie.
I did like how they fell through the portal. They're covered in ectoplasm and they're passed out. And this is a part of the plan we have not heard about, where they have a bath drawn, and they're just like, they'll be fine, they'll be fine. Just put her in the bath, and it's like, it's like, what?
They got to wash off the gross.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have no idea. This is clearly uncharted paranormal investigation research, but we do know one thing: if you're covered in ectoplasm, you cross from the other side, you got to get in the bathtub.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
where
they
else
always
would you
have
go?
a bath drawn.
Yeah.
They've done enough of these things to know there could be goop involved.
They've probably done it before with
Yeah.
like a couple mice or a dog, you know? They're like, we gotta wash it off. Like, that's always the thing.
and they just close the door
Yeah.
to them in their moment in the bathtub.
So, this whole movie, we've been seeing like crazy thing after crazy thing. The house is clean, or so we think. Everyone's living happily ever after. But the movie then builds to what has got to be one of the most like spectacular film endings. I don't know. I'm probably being hyperbolic here, but like
It's great.
it goes apeshit in a way that like you're like, I thought I've seen some crazy stuff during this movie, and then like even crazier stuff happens.
It is structured weird, like in a way that I really like, as like it's because of them, like, oh, this house is clean, and they're doing the thing that you want them to do. Like they're moving the fuck out of the house. Like he's leaving the job, like he's giving everything up, like and Craig T. Nelson is giving this amazing performance of being like flustered dad, trying to get as many boxes into the van as quickly as possible.
By the way, you know how you know they're moving? Because there's like a 30-second shot of an Atlas Van Lines box,
Yeah.
which I'm sure promotional consideration was furnished.
Autobots roll out.
Yeah. So they're moving out. Things are going to happen. And then, weirdly, he's like, I have to go do some things at the office. We're not going to stay here tonight, but I'll be back early, I promise. And he takes a little bit longer than he's supposed to. And so the kids are going to bed, and the mom decides to not tuck them in and take
bath time.
Because her piece of shit teenage daughter made her feel bad about her white hair.
Hello. Okay, I'm so glad you said that. I was waiting to give you the in. Because that part was like, I don't remember anything Craig T. Nelson was doing in that whole scene. The whole thing.
there.
I remember. Oh, okay. But yeah, that part where she's like, are you going to do anything about that?
You're like, bitch,
Her
you haven't
gray
been in this
streak.
whole movie. Get out of here.
Right. Stop reading your 17 magazine.
Well, and it's not like she had let herself go or something. This
No.
clearly happened overnight from a, horrible incident.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
She
know.
was in
Yeah.
the other world.
And it looked fine. It looked awesome.
Yeah.
It's like she earned it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It was like
And
X-Men.
that teenage
right?
daughter, the character,
Yeah.
like she pissed me off
Yeah.
at that moment.
Wait, so I didn't understand too this thing with the teenage daughter, like being familiar with the Holiday Inn. Are they implying that she like partied there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was like very
Right.
vague.
Weird.
Like she was
Very
just
weird.
like, "Oh yeah, I remember that place," and then she's like, "What? Oh, nothing." It's like, okay, it's a Holiday Inn. Like it's not that
The Holiday Inn that is now the Ontario Airport.
Oh,
Fun fact. It's not there anymore.
That's funny. Yeah, so everything seems fine, and then we get, we get kind of inched into like, wait, something's not right with the clown scene. But it turns pretty bad, like almost immediately. And as soon as Diane gets out of the shower and she's like just trying to lay in bed, she hears Robbie screaming because he's been taken under the bed by a clown. And as soon as she realizes something's wrong, she too starts getting like attacked by a ghost.
You know what I realized in this moment is
Attempted
that-
raped by a ghost.
yeah. I was like, if she gets ghost raped, I'm done. But they just
Hey, we're
kinda
not watching the
roughed her up.
entity.
we're not watching Hollow Man.
Yeah.
So she's wearing the exact outfit that Nicolas Cage wears in Mandy. Really? Yeah.
what?
I
Yeah.
would not have remembered this.
He wears a oversized
He wears-
jersey.
He
I don't remember that.
wears a baseball tee with a number on it and just his underwear, and he gets drunk in a bathroom.
I mean, it's an homage.
It's an homage. I believe that it is. I actually believe
I have
that it
to
is.
revisit
Mandy?
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Well, this is a great scene where she is getting attacked and dragged from her bed all the way up the wall to the ceiling, all the way to the
It
other
looks
side.
amazing.
And it's all like in one shot. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God. And you see her get like thrown across the room and all this crazy stuff.
Do you think they did like the room on the turning?
No, I
thing,
don't
or
think so.
How do you think
Wait,
they
how
did?
do you think they did it then?
I think that she was probably on like I think it was all wire work. I think it was all like crazy stuntmen.
You just
people
turn the
pulling
camera
levers.
instead
Yeah.
of. Oh wow. Okay.
I don't think
Whatever
they
it
could build a
was.
gimbal that way.
It scared the shit out of me when
Yeah.
I was a kid, and it's scary to see now.
If they did, then I mean that would be the way that makes the most sense. I just don't think that they had the budget for it.
I mean, they did it like, later for like Inception or.
yeah,
High
I
School
think it was
Musical 3.
I think it was just crazy stunt wire dudes.
Yeah, probably. Because you do see her get pulled back by clearly a wire at one time
Yeah.
and it blasts her back. But
Yeah, the movement that they were able to achieve, like, her
It's really
moving
impressive.
through the space is
and I-
Joseph has a discerning face, and I
We're gonna have
I
to
hear
look
you.
this
Like,
up
I
on the
don't believe
laser
it.
disc.
It's like I don't know where the wires. I mean, I know you take out wires in
That's
post.
so that's
Alyssa, just move the mic closer. You've been like so far away the whole time.
Well,
Thank you.
Maybe help me.
No, but like, where do you put the wires and like, how do you?
so.
like, you
I
can
think
track
that
them, but-
the part of the reason they may have won an Academy Award for this movie is that the main thing that ILM was doing at this point was roto.
Oh,
well, they didn't win, but they got nominated.
They got nominated. Like the main thing that they like the pioneering technology at the time was roto. So I think that that's probably what they were doing, and maybe there's a projection, but I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. I don't know. But anyway, it looks incredible.
Yeah, and this whole final scene I just love so much because it's so chaotic. There's just like, we'll get into it, but there's this like, coffins exploding on the ground all over the place, skeletons everywhere. The mom is in like, Diane is in hysterics the entire time, and you feel all of that because it's just everyone is screaming. The kids are screaming. There's so much screaming, and I just love that like the adrenaline is like, this is the end. This is crazy shit
I
happening.
legitimately had the thought. I was like, is this where the phrase "everything but the kitchen sink" comes from? Because literally everything in the house comes flying off except for the kitchen sink.
Yeah, and she's just like, running around like out of her mind trying
Yeah.
to ask for help everywhere. And one of my favorite shots, like, this whole time she's been like stopped from going into the bedroom, like the door handle electrocutes her, the rails up the stairs electrocute her, but eventually she gets back up there, and like there's this amazing shot of her like kicking the door open, and then immediately like, because the kids are in there getting almost sucked into the closet, she kicks open the door and immediately starts like her feet are off the ground and she's like parallel to the
Yeah.
ground, and that's just such an awesome shot that like, I don't know, it must have been with wires again. Like,
Yep.
she kicks open the door and is immediately in the air, like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
you're just like, there's not even a moment of her like looking at what's happening and then getting sucked in. It's just like instant. And it's just like, I loved the chaos of this. And just every beat in the scene is just like, they had to, it's like, it must have clearly been planned out, but it just feels so like, there's nothing they could do to stop what's happening, and I just love that feeling that this scene gives.
This had to be an exhausting 2 weeks for her on this shoot because
God.
like this is 10 minutes in the movie where she is just running around in an absolute panic, and
Yeah.
every frame of it worked. Every frame of it, she's selling it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
The pool part
Oh, fuck.
in the end like triggered me
gross.
so much. Just like a shot of it in the beginning of the film, I was like, oh fuck no.
yeah.
Just remembering
The way that she falls
scene.
into it looks painful. Like they're
Yeah.
trying to inflict maximum damage on her.
And there's that decrepit rotten corpse with pearls
Yeah.
on that pops out. I love that part.
Do we think that the reason this happened is because of the pool, and that's why it happened at their house specifically, because they were the first to start digging deeper
into it?
and disturbing the graves?
That's a good question. Yeah.
I think that's a really good.
Although
Yeah.
we do see at the end stuff start exploding like all over
The
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Oh yeah, but their house is the one that like
Yeah.
black
Right.
holes.
I think that it was probably happening for all those places, and I think that once they had Carol Ann for many days, that they were able to gain power from her.
That's a good point. Did was there any specific action that made them want to grab Carol Ann or any one of the kids in the beginning of the movie?
It didn't seem like it. 'Cause
Yeah.
she just
No.
goes up to the TV and they start talking to her.
It's just probably a thing where, like, kids are, allegedly sometimes more susceptible to these types of things.
I think that the best thing about this, and what I choose to believe and what I love about this is that they didn't do anything. Like, they're completely innocent, but they exist in this society. Like, they bought a tract home. They bought a tract home.
I
Like-
think the yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, where it's like it's like I think the thing that makes it scary is that no, they didn't do anything, but they participated in a system that disrespected the history of where they're from and tried to ignore it. And you can't ignore where things used to be.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the scenes about this film resonate, especially if you were a kid watching it, because they did such a good job of showing each scene or situation through the family member's eyes. I remember being like 8 and being terrified because Carol Ann was seeing these things happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like Robbie was seeing these things happen, and it's not like there were, parents in the room mediating a thing or whatever. And I don't know, it just felt very point of view from whatever character was in that moment.
I think it works. It makes the movie like incredibly universal because like watching it for the first time now, like I associate with the parents a lot. Like watching it from their perspective. I think that the movie does a really good job of having.
You're like, you're shitty parents.
No, I thought they were incredible. I thought they were awesome parents.
Yeah. No, but you see it in a different way though now
Right.
as an adult.
But I think that they did such a good job with the characters where it's like you can watch it from the kids' perspective, you can watch it from the parents' perspective, and it works from either way. Like it works from both angles in a way that's I think is kind of impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another moment that I just totally love in this final scene, this final crazy scene, is like, Diana spent like 5 minutes of screen time, like trying desperately to get back to her kids, and she finally rescues them. And in the meantime, like Steven has shown up, Craig T. Nelson has shown up, and he sees just like there's just like a flashing light basically in the house, and he's just like, what's happening? And he runs up to the front door, and at the same time, Diane has gotten to the front door that's open with her, like, with Robbie and Carol Ann, and she's like, Steven, help us! Like, at the same time, the door slams shut, and a coffin comes bursting out of the front step, and it's just, like, such a great, like, planned moment, and it's just off into the next thing. It's just great. Like, the storyboarding for this must have been intense. For this
I really love, again, the best feature of this movie is that it knows when it can just cut and move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. The movie's done.
Well, the movie has an amazing ending. I love the ending of this movie. They get in the car, they drive away. It's just them walking into a Holiday Inn, haggard.
Yeah.
And then Craig T. Nelson wheels the television out
Yeah.
in the
And it
hallway.
should have been like, burr, 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 burr.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It does. It's
mean,
not.
It goes
it's
into
not,
the child like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not clear that they've escaped it. It's not clear what anything that's happening. It's just
Star
like
Spangled Banner would have been a
yeah.
predictable but nice bookend.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't know.
The only thing that's clear is that the entire neighborhood saw their house implode.
yes, including
You know
his
they-
boss.
Yeah.
And Craig
Nobody
Nelson
else.
gets the amazing moment where he gets the
Famous
screen.
line,
Yeah, move the headstones. You didn't move the bodies.
So great. So great. Oh, man. What a great movie.
It's a great movie.
You have a rating for us?
Oh boy.
How many smelly tennis balls?
Yeah. Oh yeah. How many ectoplasm smothered tennis balls would you give Poltergeist? The Geistening.
I'll go first here. I really love this movie. I kind of want to. I think I'm going to give it a 9.
No.
I kind of want to almost give it a 10.
I didn't know we were doing out of 10.
Oh yeah, it's out of 10.
I thought it was out of 5.
Okay.
too.
Out of
9. It's 9 ectoplasm covered, but distinctly smelly.
Potpourri. It has a
Yeah,
nice
rose water, maybe. Tennis balls. This is a great movie. I think, this is maybe like the third or fourth time I've watched this movie, and I feel like there's a lot of movies that I've watched 2 or 3 times that I cannot, for the life of me, like remember what happened. And I think the fact that it's not like I've watched this movie a crazy amount of times, but watching it again, I was like remembering everything that happens. And I don't know if it's because I've seen it in clip shows or around popular culture or what, but I think the fact that these images are so like indelible to your conscious is just a very telling fact that this is like a classic film. And I'm a big lover of scores as well, and Jerry Goldsmith's score for this is just fantastic. It was, again, also nominated for Academy Award. So I just love this movie, you guys. Great movie. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I also am going to give it 9 out of 10 tennis balls covered in goop. I think it's pretty dang close to like perfect-ish, but I think like, because for me, I think because I like it so much, I have to like think about it backwards and like dock it for things rather than like build it up. So I think even though she's passed and I'm sure she was a great person, that girl Dominique Dunn, who played the older daughter, was awful. Like every time she was screaming, I was like, it was really bad. So that, and then the face melting thing looking kind of like the Crypt Keeper more than a real person. But yeah.
You're docking it down for that?
Yeah, that's why I'm giving it 9 and not 10. Yeah.
Oh, your melty face thing.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
All right, what about you, Joseph?
I want to give it 9.
But he hates that dog.
No, well,
That fucking dog, man.
fucking dog. 9 tennis balls covered in ectoplasm, plus or minus 1 crawling T-bone steak.
Yeah. Maggot-infested T-bone steak, which we didn't really talk about, but
What a great effect.
that effect's amazing.
I'm gonna give it a 9 as well, although I'm reluctant to because you guys have all given 9s.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 too. It's fine.
We all agree.
I know, but
Oh my god, if you turn the 9s upside down, there's 6s.
fuck.
The beast.
But it's hard. It's hard to separate myself from something that's so just, a part of my childhood. I think in a critical way. Or,
No
I
need
don't know.
to. You can
No
fully,
need to.
yeah.
Yeah, just get into it. Right.
Give the rating you want.
Yeah. But it was definitely interesting seeing it again as an adult because I don't think I've watched it for probably 10 years before last Friday. So it's interesting. And I want to see more practical effects in everything all the time.
Everything.
That's the
know.
message I want to send.
We are like that after every old movie we watch.
Yeah.
Please.
Every time.
I am also gonna give it 9 ectoplasm smothered tennis balls, and I think that it's one of those things that watching it now is such a unique perspective of not knowing, but it being so familiar, and the reason that it's so familiar is because this is much like Rambo 2 for action movies. This is in the DNA of every horror movie that comes afterwards. Like there's not a horror director working that's not borrowing from this, whether consciously or unconsciously. And it's just so masterfully constructed and done in such a... I think one of the things that I love about it is as much as it is Spielbergian and as much as some of the awe and some of the schmaltz comes through, it's subverted in a way too. It uses that sentiment against itself in a lot of ways, and it's kind of mean-spirited and in the best way. It's cynical. It would be a good double feature with The Burbs.
Yeah.
And growing up in a tract home, like I said, there's not a lot of ghost stories that you think that you can have, and I think that this is a Edgar Allan Poe level classic of what that means, and I really believe that. Like, I don't know if there's a modern horror that has the mythos of this, that kind of has the societal commentary that this has. I think there's a lot of things that try and they get there in a tone, and they think it's cynical in a way, but it's not this.
Well, damn, I need to have some sort of consensus sound effect on the board here.
Yeah, we've never had this.
I don't know if we've ever had everyone, including the toss up of I mean, everyone's
this
9.
rating is clean.
That's so great. That's so great. Well, you guys, this movie was very successful. It made back over like 10 times its budget. And that means that, just 4 years later, we get a sequel, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side.
Has anybody seen it? Don't spoil it if you have.
I'm not going to spoil it at all. I'm just going to say that part 2 terrifies me more in memories.
Ooh.
Based on specific scenes, not like the overall kind of unsettling nature of it.
We'll have fun trying to guess what those are.
Yeah. I have not seen either of the sequels or anything.
Me neither.
I've just seen some clips, various clips. But I'm excited to check this out. I mean, The Other Side, what do we get to see more of the...
Other side of the tracks.
Yeah, the train. We're good to see the other side of the train. Finally,
that's where they moved.
That scene where they showed the tracks, but you couldn't see the other side. I'm glad to finally see the other side.
They're going to go to Ladybird's neighborhood.
That's right.
It's like the grass. What did he say? The grass is always greener on every side, or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
The Quest of Verde Promise.
So now, maybe we'll get to see more into the ghost world.
But in the meantime, we're in October. We're in a spooky time. We're going to need some suggestions for what we can do next for heading into the end of the year. Eliz, where can they get at us?
Please email us at sequelrights@gmail.com and find us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights.
And please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. The reviews mean a lot. This week, we will read your favorite memories from watching the show Coach with Craig T. Nelson. Write down your favorite episode of Coach.
He was angry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I want some ghost stories. Send us some ghost stories.
Ghost stories or Coach stories.
They're the same almost. Yeah.
That's not even a ghost story.
Coach Ghosts.
And thank you to our Polterguests, Joseph and Alyssa. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for
It's fun. It's fun having you guys on the podcast.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
Well, yeah, with that, we'll see you guys on the other side for Poltergeist 2.